Spence Porter's this Saturday, and that's the biggest fight we've had in some time, maybe since probably Pacquiao Thurman in July. And it feels like it feels like a big fight for us. I am still skeptical of how big it is for the casual audience yet, because I don't see the push that like Spence Mikey got. I don't see the same level of push. Maybe Fu, who was in Dallas, who lives in Dallas when that fight went down, maybe he can talk about respective of being in the U.S. market, in the media market. What have you seen in terms of media push for Spence Porter?
There hasn't been anything. Not like when it was Spence Mikey. I don't know why. Because it's a better fight, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But, and, you know, the dance partner matters. Sean Porter's maybe not, you know, the biggest. We know he's not the biggest star.
No.
Lots of people don't like watching him fight too much. But I figure with Spence, they would push a little bit more with, you know, him getting on the Dallas. Like, I think he was at a Cowboys game recently.
Like they've done
couple
stuff.
Other things.
Yeah.
So
they've done stuff. It's not like they haven't promoted it. I think they promoted it well. But respective to Spence Garcia, it feels like it's not getting the same level of push or the same level of marketing. Maybe it's because, look, they thought, hey, Spence Mikey, we have the Mexican-American demographic coming into it. Dallas Cowboy Stadium, a bigger arena. So automatically they're planning it to be bigger. So maybe they just push more dollars behind it, thinking behind the scenes, that's the bigger fight, which I can understand. Like, in terms of pure numbers, Mikey is the bigger draw than Porter. That is, I think, pretty factual to say at this point in time. It's unfortunate that the lesser fight is the more marketable fight that got the bigger push, but it just seems like that's the case right here. Now, to that point, pay-per-view buys. Any prediction on buy rates before we head into the actual fight and the X's and O's of this matchup?
For me, I mean,
and Rob, include UK viewership buys. What do you think it could do?
Oh, 0 buys because it's for free.
You know what I meant.
I think it'll be just hardcores that are going to maybe stay up for this. This isn't sort of a casual thing. There's maybe, I don't know, some casuals that will maybe have watched the Cal Brook fight with Spence, but I don't think they're staying up till, you know, and that was it, LA, right? So that's going to be 4 a.m. over here, easy, 4 or 5 a.m. Before they're fighting. So I can't see, it's just going to be the hardcore base. But regarding,
but about respective to like maybe other big U.S. fights this year, Canelo Jacobs, Pacquiao Thurman, even Spence Garcia in a way, you know, like what?
Again, I think this will be probably on the lower end of all that, which is, again, it's a shame. Like you say, Mikey and Spence seem to get a lot of push. But just a little reference to the Tim Smith thing. He said the episode of Fight Camp, I think it averaged viewership was like 600 and
something like that, yeah,
50 or 675 or something like that, 1,000 views, which is you know,
good,
very good. So, but it's just, what does that translate to? Does that make people go and buy it? And unfortunately, I don't think Porter's that guy, which is a shame. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. But for some reason, he just doesn't seem to be, you know, a big sort of draw. I'm sure it'll pick up, but I keep seeing things now, maybe because it's on my feed and it's that side of things. I don't know, but this isn't selling very well as far as tickets as well. But I know it's different here because they go on sale, and like quite often it's we get the pre-sale, and that goes usually pretty well, and the venues tend to sell out before people turn up on the day in America and get walk-ups, and so I don't know. I expect it'll do okay in the end, but I think it's just different markets how we do it, and you guys seem to do it, because from what I can tell, a lot of people over there wait until prices drop, or they, you know, shift prices and even walk up on the day, whereas here it's usually, especially like I guess Matchroom shows, they seem to sell out or get very close to a sellout before the nights arrive. But pay-per-view buys, I think I don't know. It's hard to just quantify, like I say, those good numbers about the fight camp, and then
all good numbers. Yeah,
those guys were on the NFL. Was it
pre-game shows and stuff like that of that nature? Yes,
the NFL on Sunday or whatever you call it. I don't know. Obviously, we don't really get that. I mean, Sky pick up NFL games, but we've got our own little in studio thing where they talk, and then it cuts to the live feed of whoever's playing that game. But just how much that converts into actual buys. Because for me, if it was £75 every time and we were having as many pay-per-views as you guys seem to be getting at the moment, you know, I'd really be cherry picking what I'm buying personally on a, you know, purely monetary basis.
But to that point, right, cherry picking buys, right, we've talked about that before, sort of figuring out or theorizing which pay-per-view is going to be the bomb, because one of them has to be the bomb, right? Crawford Khan bombed. That was to be expected. Yeah. But I think to some degree we expected Spence Garcia to bomb. And to be honest, it's still the most successful pay-per-view they've done to date, I want to say. I might be wrong on that. Maybe Pacquiao Thurman did better than it. But I want to say, at least initial reporting, Spence Garcia did better than Pacquiao Broner, did better than Wilder Fury. And again, I think it did better than even Pacquiao Thurman. So
Pacquiao Broner was Showtime, though, right?
Yes, it was. Good distinction there, at least. And also, Wilder Fury was Showtime as well. There's a difference in, I think, promotion and level of attention that these networks are grabbing. But besides that point, Spence Garcia, the one that I think most of us expected to bomb, did the best. So I feel like we're in that same situation here where maybe we are mispredicting it here, and we all thinking it's lower than it is. And Spence is a star that we aren't expecting. It's possible. Again, because we thought Spence Garcia was going to bomb, and it did gangbuster numbers. And I think we all expect Spence Porter to do pedestrian numbers for PBC pay-per-views. Again, 250, probably 300,000 is the respectable number that it could hit, and I think we can probably expect it to hit. But if it does above 350, is that really a surprise? I don't think it is. Because maybe Spence is just that guy that is now trending in that way, at least in the sporting world. I'm
not sure. It's hard because we had sort of Mexican-American involved with Spence the first time. And until, I don't know if it's possible, you can't break down those numbers. Like how many of those were Mexican-American, like sort of maybe watching because of Mikey, how many are there watching because of Spence. So, but I just don't think Porter's that guy that's going to tip this too high. Personally, the ceiling for me is going to be like 275, but I've kind of said from the start like 2,000 to 250,000 buys, maybe around the 275. But I don't know. I think that's sort of a fairly decent number anyway, to be honest. I just don't think this is going to do the Spence, Mikey Garcia numbers, because I think there was another whole demographic coming with that event.
Quickly, people are seeming to disagree with me on the numbers on the pay-per-view, saying that Manny versus Thurman did 500K. Look, the only source that has that is Boxing News 24. I don't count that as a notable source, so please find a better source for me. Secondly, Manny versus Broner did around 400,000. Again, so did Spence Garcia. So I don't know what the gripe is here, people. Honestly, you're about to have a heart attack there.
You can't win or lose, you know.
I'm literally giving props to Spence, and PBC fanboys are wrong.
If you're not super stoked about the numbers that PBC does, you're a hater. If you congratulate a pay-per-view doing better than you thought it would, you're also a hater. I don't understand it, but I think like 275 to like 325 is probably where this will land. I think that's pretty consistent. That number of people almost buy every pay-per-view, especially like, you know, on the PBC side. Like it seems like every pay-per-view does somewhere in there, no matter kind of who you put in that role. And I just don't think Porter's the guy to lift it to that like 400,000 range, like Rob said. I don't know if it's personality or what, but he doesn't bring a crowd, you know. So Spence has got it. I just hope that after this we get all the fights we want with Spence, so we can see like if he truly is, that star. Like, I don't even know that a Spence Crawford would do as much as a Spence Mikey. Like it would, but Crawford's not really that guy either that's selling fights. People want to see it, but there's just something about when you throw, like Rob made a great point. The Mexican American crowd is going to buy those pay-per-views. They're going to get to the fight. They're very passionate about it. And like Crawford fans aren't super passionate about buying his fights. He's done 2 pay-per-views. They both flopped. So, as great a boxer as he is, he doesn't have the ardent fandom that some of these other guys have,
Agreed. It is going to be curious to see if this, let's say, does over numbers that are predicted for it, what the reaction is to that. And if it does below that, obviously, I think the reaction to it is going to be harsh because I think there has been a lack of promotion respective to other PBC fights when this fight is legitimately one of the best fights that's made this year. So now let's talk about the fight itself because we talked about how big it is in the business of it. Let's talk about the X's and O's and what's going to happen actually in the ring. Spence Porter, I think, has the potential to be a Fight of the Year candidate, B, one of the better title fights and sort of inside fights we've seen in some time. Both guys are, traditionally speaking, inside fighters, inside volume combination punchers as well. I'm just insanely curious about the dynamic of this matchup. We did see Spence with Mikey actually switch it up and go on the back foot and be more of a defensive boxer and show that level to his game. I am curious if he does that with Porter because Porter is obviously going to press him, in my opinion. He's the smaller guy with the smaller reach. He has to get on the inside. He has to bully Spence in some way. And I think Spence is going to be pushed on the back foot, have to box more, and it's probably going to win a points decision in a fun back-and-forth affair. Potentially, maybe both guys get hurt or at least stunned in this fight, but I see a competitive fight throughout. It may end up being like an 8-4 decision for Spence, but one of those 8-4 decisions that is ultra-competitive throughout and has us questioning certain rounds. We might have even a very small vocal contingent saying Porter won, just like Porter versus Thurman or like Thurman versus Garcia, right? There was a vocal minority that was yelling that the B side won the decision. I expect that to happen here as well just because of the dynamic and how both guys are really going to mesh well on the inside, and it's going to be a volume fest, really. I mean, I think both guys are going to probably, maybe not break CompuBox records because welterweight has some crazy CompuBox records, but they might get to like top 15 like punch counts in welterweight history. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. Rob, your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily agree that Spence is like volume kind of guy. I think he's accurate. So what he throws is always seems to mean something, but I don't think he's not Porter volume anyway. I
agree he's not Porter volume, but he's definitely throws at volume compared to the average of the division. He throws above average.
Yeah, I mean against Mikey, he was throwing crazy amounts of punches per round, but yeah, that was a different look Spence in a way. Wasn't that kind of just plodding forward, like hurting you, good body punch. He really, I know he said he wanted to show that he could outbox, but I don't know. He just didn't knock him out, I guess. But no, I think Porter's going to make this kind of interesting. But ultimately, I think Spence, out of the two, has the ability to hurt more than Porter can. I don't think we'll see Spence getting hurt from Porter. I don't think Porter's quite got that power. I think his volume is what gets the respect, maybe over the power. But I'm expecting Spence to come away with it, but I think it'll be a hard fought decision to get it. I don't think Porter's getting stopped either. So I expect Spence to not shade it. I think he might win fairly handily, but yeah, like you say, maybe like an 8-4 or something like that, but competitive and being made to work every step of the way, I think.
Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. I would say that if Spence does stop Porter, it's gonna tell a lot. Like we've discussed this before about, none of us really thought, he'd never had to do much lateral movement. Never, he's like you said in the start, he's never had to fight off his back foot. He's definitely going to have to do a lot of that against Porter. He had to do some of the, better boxing against Mikey. And I think he did that intentionally just to show people that he could, because I think boxers take everything you say to heart, and they're like, fighters are so sensitive. But, Porter is definitely going to press him early on, I think, until he gets hurt. And I think toward the middle rounds, like, you might see Porter not be as willing to engage or trade with him. But Porter's tough as shit, man. It's going to be a bloodbath for the most part. There'll probably be like some clashing of the heads. Like, that's the thing I always worry about with Porter fights. Is like if Spence gets some kind of a cut due to, like, a head clash or something. That's the stuff that I worry about with this fight. But I think Spence will prove how good he is in this fight.
I definitely don't see a finish. I mean, look, you didn't finish Mike Garcia. I know Mikey was never finished, never had a loss in his professional career, but the guy's a lightweight, and he couldn't finish him. And so I'm not saying Spence doesn't have power. He obviously does have power. I mean, he brutalized Lamont Peterson, brutalized Kell Brook, brutalized Chris Algieri. The guy has power. That's without question, but enough power to beat certain guys, I don't know. And I think Porter's one of those guys where he lasts against anyone, and he beats a lot of these other guys in the division. He just does. He doesn't beat the very top, but he gives them all tough fights. Like Porter against Pacquiao is a tough fight for Pacquiao. Porter in a rematch against Thurman, that's a tough fight for Thurman. Porter against Crawford, that's a tough fight for Crawford. Porter is one of those guys. He can definitely give everyone issues.
Yeah, and he just makes you fight a different fight than what you're used to. Like, he smothers people. So, that's what I want to see is how he can handle that pressure. I would also like to see if he's able to eventually break Porter down. And Porter's going to leave himself more open than I think even a Mikey Garcia. Mikey's going to fight a very safe fight, whereas Porter isn't always the safest fighter, So he might get caught by something. Who knows? But I would say decision, probably like a 9-3 or 8-4. I don't know if I see Porter winning like 4 rounds against Spence, but it also is hard to judge a Porter fight at times, because you don't really know what's landing clean or not, because he smothers his work.
Guys, there's so much hating on Porter. It's sad, man. So sad.
I know.
We're going to miss him when he's gone, guys, honestly. When he's retired, we're going to miss him. Moving on, though, the co-main event, Anthony Durrell versus David Benavidez for the WBC super middleweight title. Oh, man, poor Anthony Durrell here. The one thing that leads me to think that potentially this is a tough fight for Benavidez, Durrell's a scrappy guy. Like, naturally, he's a scrappy guy. He's tough on the inside. I think also he is savvy enough in terms of just clinching up, dirty boxing. Like, he's a tough guy to deal with. He's unorthodox in what he does, his approach. And again, a durable fighter. So maybe it's a tough fight for Benavidez, but Benavidez is by far away the better boxer at this point. The faster guy, the better athlete, heavier hitter, the bigger guy. I mean, Benavidez in almost every category is better than Anthony Durrell in 2019. I think we can all agree with that. So Benavidez clearly should win this fight via TKO, probably in the later rounds, because, again, Durrell's a tough guy. So I'm thinking maybe 8-10 in the rounds. I think it should be a TKO around that time. But, Rob, your thoughts on the co-main event of Anthony Durrell and David Benavidez?
Yeah, Benavidez is a beast. And I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but I might have to agree with Boxing Junkie, a.k.a. Heyman TBE. This could be...
What?
Somewhere in the water today. We might not see Andre Durrell again after this.
Anthony.
Anthony Durrell. So I got a bad feeling for him in this one. Benavidez looks the real deal. He's almost as good as Callum Smith. I had to claw it back.
I know you tried. You tried this. Okay.
I had to claw it back.
We didn't believe you, but we tried. Thank you.
Well, that's a very that street is a long way away right now. There's a big ocean between those streets. But he could come over. Benavidez, he'd be more than welcome.
Hey, you know what? I mean, Smith can come over as well. He could be on a Fox pay-per-view.
He could be on a design guaranteed money. But no, I really like Benavidez. I'm glad looks like he's maybe sorted out the issues that he might have had with recreational stuff, and hopefully he's training hard, and because I think he could really be, well, he already is a bit of a beast at this, but there's another division after this that I think he could go on, and because he's a big guy,
yeah.
So he could do real big things in the sport.
I think guys like Benavidez, Callum Smith included, because these are guys that even if they lose to each other, right? Like it's not like they're gone, right? Like you know what I mean? Like people have this like conception in their mind, like, oh, if they fight, the loser's gone. No, they're still around. I think Benavidez, Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, and then like Bivol, Betterby, Vajic, those 6 guys, if they just get in the same division together, oh, please, to God. And have a World Boxing Super Series tournament that isn't, full of shit and doesn't have money issues with those 6 guys, and we're set. We're all happy.
Don't worry, DAZN have sorted out the money issues. It's all good.
Anyways, moving on. Foo, your thoughts?
Happy birthday, DAZN, by the way. Happy birthday,
DAZN. Hold on. I'm trash. Shots at me. Hold on. Guys,
birthday?
It was a very special birthday this last weekend, and it wasn't DAZN's. It was another birthday. If I can fucking find the goddamn soundbite. Here it is. Mr. Robbie Hearns here, guys, turned 40 years old.
Go shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip Bacardi like it's your birthday.
The last time this was played, it was like an 8-year-old girl.
We've never been demonetized with that sound. Don't say that. It's okay. 50 loves us, okay?
Demonetization.
We love the show power. Look at
that. DAZN and Robbie Hearns sharing a birthday. Unbelievable, right?
Well, it's clearly some sort of like alien or reptilian conspiracy, right? Like that's what I'm thinking. The reason why Rob and DAZN are on the same date of birth. That's just my thought.
I'm starting to think the Earth is flat. But yeah, no, 1 year in, 40 years in. If DAZN reached my age, they're doing pretty good.
That's
pretty
true,
soon. Rob's going to be saying Wilder's the best heavyweight. Oh my god!
I mean, I'll say this:
HBO Boxing could be in the chat. Happening.
HBO Boxing hit 40 years old, and look what happened to it. So moving on.
Oh my god!
Great memories.
Foo, thoughts on Darrell Benavidez?
Benavidez, it may go 6 to 8 rounds, but Benavidez is just gonna destroy Darrell. It's not gonna be pretty. And then Benavidez is going to take over the entire weight class.
You think he beats Plant?
Man, Plant's the tougher fight, right? Out of Callum Smith or
stylistically
Plant, right?
speaking, you either think Smith or Benavidez wins, right? Like either you are a Smith guy and you think he's going to bully Benavidez and have the more powerful shots, or Benavidez will. But Plant's that guy that he might play spoiler and outbox everyone in the division. So I feel like the conversation always has to be, well, the winner of Benavidez Smith versus Plant, who is truly the king of the division? Even though we all know Benavidez Plant is far more likely to happen sooner because of obvious promotional and network ties.
Man, I think I'm a Plant stan. I don't know why. I really like all of those guys. 168 is like a really hard weight for me because I like Callum Smith. I think he has one of the best left hooks in that weight. Like his check left hook is just so good. But Plant's movement and ability to counter punch and he's just such a smart fighter. But then Benavidez is just like, he's kind of like an unknown. He's super good, but I don't, maybe level of competition, or we haven't seen him enough, or his, cocaine, use, whatever. Yeah, that's just, those are all going to be fun fights. I wonder, like you said, if Smith will ever get in the mix with any of those guys because of the, being on different sides of the street. But I would love to see Plant versus Benavidez. I think that's a hell of a fight right there.
Agreed.
But I don't think this Durrell fight's going to be anything. I mean, he should just clearly destroy Durrell.
It'd be a fun destruction, in my opinion. As long as it lasts. Next up, Mario Barrios on the card for the vacant WBA regular belt. Boo. Where's my gunshots? Fuck that belt. Fighting Baty Akhmedov, which should be a fun fight. Both guys undefeated prospects. Akhmedov was a 2016 Olympian, I believe. I forget for what country exactly. I want to say it's like Uzbekistan or Russia. One of those. And obviously Mario Barrios has been a PBC prospect for a long time. Hopefully he beats this guy and just moves on to actual legit competition. Because if he's that good, and I think he is that good, I think Mario Barrios is going to be a legit perennial top 10, 15 guy at 140 and 147. I want him to step up now. He's at 24-0 now. This is going to be his 25th fight. Let's move on. I may quickly just run down the rest of the undercard, then get you guys' quick thoughts on the undercard. Josito Lopez versus John Molina Jr. on the card. Robert Guerrero versus Jerry Thomas. A bunch of prospects like Aman Rashidi, Leon Lawson III, Joey Spence on the card, and that is about it. Plus a bunch of other fights that I just don't know these people. Apologies. Guys, any other thoughts on the undercard of Spence versus Porter? Guys.
Is Barrios actually fighting at 140, or
Yes.
is it going to be like the catch, like
no,
144?
It's a 140 fight for a 140-pound air quote belt.
Okay.
Yes.
So he is like legitimately set on fighting at 140 because he's kind of been in between the two weights.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll see what he can do.
Agreed.
There's a lot of tough guys in 140 for him, I think. So, but 147 is no easier. So, both
Agreed.
those weight classes got some tough guys.
Rob, any thoughts on the undercard?
Joey Spencer's on there, right?
Yep.
I like Joey Spencer. Good prospect.
And just quick, sorry, just not to interrupt you, but the prelim portion of this undercard will be on FS1 starting at, I believe, 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, with Robert Guerrero being the air quote main event of the prelims before he head into the pay-per-view card.
Yeah, I think Sky have got just like an hour time slot, so I think we're getting Benavidez, Durrell, and Spence Porter. So,
damn, that sucks.
Oh, you don't have to worry about watching Robert Guerrero fight way past when he should be fighting. Oh,
yeah, but I mean, I like Mario Barrios on the pay-per-view card. Not gonna see him, And even though this fight isn't the best, Josito Lopez versus John Molina Jr. should be fun. It's a competitive fight.
Yeah.
Lopez looked good against Keith Thurman.
Yeah. So are we thinking all the hashtag A sides?
Yeah. Well, technically speaking, Durrell's the A side, so not all the A sides, but we all know who the real A sides are. So yes, all the A sides should win on this card.
Or is it hashtag Durrell Benavidez?
I would assume so because Durrell's the champion. Technically speaking, Durrell's the champion. Remember, because Benavidez had the coke binge, and they made Durrell versus Ivani Yildirim, right? Remember, for the vacant belt,
Yeah.
which was actually a really fun fight. And then Yildirim had his little tantrum and has been saying that he wants the rematch.
He took a trip to Mauricio's, didn't he? And
Yeah,
said
he did.
He's got his rematch though, right? Well,
Dylan White had his mandatory status, right? I mean, Mauricio Sulaiman was on Instagram with a video of Dylan White's hat shouting him out.
Let's go. Hashtag let's go body snatcher.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
Moving on, though.
He's got a bunch of hats.
On the topic of UK heavyweights, though, Daniel Dubois fights this weekend as well on Friday, I believe. Yes, Friday, on obviously ESPN Plus in the US and obviously BT Sport in the UK, fighting. Oh my God, I can't believe I get to say this name in real life, and it's a real person. Ebenezer. I'm sorry. I'm completely immature, guys. I will admit that. Fighting Ebenezer Tete,
Tete.
but not the real Tete, not the one we love. This is Ebenezer Scrooge, guys. Rob's cousin, and I am firmly, because you're Ebenezer Scrooge. You know, like that's the joke. I've always called you Scrooge, Rob. Like this isn't a new thing.
This is great banter.
It really is.
Really is.
But down to Buster win this one. I mean, honestly, in devastating fashion, a round or two. Like if it goes past 2 rounds, I'm upset here because he just had his best career performance to date against Nathan Gorman, and this gigantic step back with Ebenezer Scrooge. I don't understand this matchup at all. But hopefully, he just gets a 1-round knockout and moves on. Hopefully, because this makes no sense.
Yeah, he says he's ready for Fury now. There's been a whole bunch in the UK media just this last week or so that, I don't know, Dubois is, I don't know.
They're fighting the same level of competition, so.
Oh. No, but Dubois is the guy. He is going to be, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff being written about, but yeah, I can't see Tete being any kind of test for Dubois. He seems legit. Still very young. Still a lot to improve and tighten up on. But at this moment in time, he's not facing anyone that can really exploit any of the weaknesses that might be there. But yeah, I fully expect Dubois to get another little mini boxing viral knockout that'll, you know, go around the Twitter sphere and the Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah, no surprises as what happens in that one.
Fu, so do you give your thoughts on Dubois, Tete, or Ebenezer Scrooge, as we're going to call him now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ebenezer is fantastic. He's 19-0, so it's a huge step up fight. I mean, you know, this is just it. Like you said, is this going to be like a 1st-round KO? I don't know why. This is kind of like, could they not get a better fight?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. Frank Warren, I mean, if we're, you know what? We're going to be like super petty because, look, we don't even get credentialed for the big fights like Spence Porter. So, like, fuck the promoters and everything. When we do our end of the year award show like we did last year, we are definitely going to do best promoter and worst promoter of the year and stuff like that. We're going to have best of and worst of categories 100%. And Frank Warren is a deep favorite for worst promoter of the year and of lifetime. Like, he might get a lifetime achievement award for that shit.
For what?
Being just an awful promoter, awful matchmaker, like this makes no sense. Like, you have all this push and hype after Gorman, and you kill it. You destroy the hype and momentum with Ebenezer Scrooge. You do. Like, there's no point in this.
Is he like the #1 heavyweight from, you know,
Albania?
Some tiny little country that
Monaco
has like 2 heavyweights? Yeah.
Just wait. All right. Just 1 second.
What?
I need to check something. Can't go throwing this kind of stuff out there.
What? Are you going to look up his box rec and see, like, oh, look, guys?
No, I just want to see. It's for the Commonwealth heavyweight title. So he's just collecting the belts along the way.
Okay. Boxing Junkie, a.k.a. Heyman, TPE, a.k.a. Kobe Bean, a.k.a. all the other accounts that have been deleted, says Aram is just as bad. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I think we've all been on record here talking about ESPN's awful 2019 run, and that means Top Rank included. But digressing from this point, let's get back to the fights. Nicola Adams versus Maria Solanas for the WBO belt. We've always been fans of Nicola Adams, good friend of the show in a way, good friend of Coach Mitty in a way. So always going to be supporting her and her career. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see her fight again. I felt like she was talking about retiring, right? Like, am I imagining that? Like, she was talking about, like, I don't feel it anymore. Like she's sort of been questioning her desire for the sport. I hope that she stays in it because I think she is a good fighter. I think she's a fun fighter. And she has a great personality that should be shown more. So shout out to Nicole Adams. Guys, thoughts?
Yeah, she's like been handed the belt, right? So to legitimize that, she needs to now go out and put on some performances. And I don't think any fighter wants to be given a belt, right? I don't think Jamal Charlo is particularly pleased that he's somehow the champion, the WBC champion, the way he's got it. I think, you much want to go and beat a champion to go and get it. So she's going to have to go out and do some defenses and try and unify and actually, win against the champion if possible. But yeah, Nicole Adams, good to see her back, So yeah, I'm sure she'll get the win.
Fu?
Yeah, I would like to see her put on a dominant performance. She's obviously very talented. I think there's been, with some of the promoters, it seems like they're struggling to, you saw it with Chantel Cameron and a couple other like top female boxers, just struggling to make the fights they need. And, that money's obviously an issue. They can't have the camps and things like that. So I'd like to see her kind of take the belt, run with it. Like Robbie said, unify, be in some big fights. She's won a gold medal, maybe two. She won one for sure. I'd have to look it up, but she's won a gold medal, I think in 2012 or something, right? And so she's obviously a top talent in the sport. And the more competition there, then the more women's boxing is going to grow. So I'd like to see her get promoted a little better, put in some better fights, and get to show that she's up there with these girls.
Agreed.
So like to see a dominant performance.
Agreed. Moving on, Archie Sharp is also on the card, but he's still fighting TBA at this point in time. The fight's on Friday, guys. Oh my God. But I like Archie Sharp. I think he's a fun prospect to watch. Tall, lanky guy, and he boxes well on the back foot, so automatically I'm going to like that. So shout out to Archie Sharp. There's a bunch of other prospects that are undefeated on the card. I don't know who they are. Rob, I don't know if you know who they are.
Read them.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back to it. Sorry, I was going to move on. Denzel Bentley, Willie Hutchinson, Dennis McCann, Jonathan Palata, and Muhammad Balil Ali.
Who the fuck is he talking about?
Shout out to all the no context accounts that have just sprung up. Okay, no context Eddie, no context Bob Arum, all of them. Fantastic people out there.
Willie Hutchins, he's good. I like watching him, by the way. So yeah, go check him out. But yeah, I guess this is ESPN Plus or tomorrow night. Look,
No, not tomorrow. Friday
night boxing. If you,
Yeah, it is. It's Friday night card. Absolutely.
At a loose end, pay your $5 and catch it on the Plus.